going to show you a card today that blends some of my older dies with my newer release, because I do want to point out that you shouldn't put your old dies away. You want to use them and mix and match, and I've done my designing that way, so I think it looks great together. So to encourage you, we're going to show you the dies that we're using. Out of the newest release, I have the Ornate Octagons Striplet, the Dandelion Clocks, one of the older designs, Pierced Flags. I use this quite a bit for my sentiments. It's a steady go-to die set. And out of my very first release, the Spanish collection, we'll be using the Murcia as well as the Seville Die to create our frame. Okay. I think I'll show you that first. So I'm going to use some teal card, and out of the Seville, I'm going to use the larger outer ring. And I'm going to use the outside ring on the Murcia, but it is a smaller design, so we're going to create a nice frame with the two. I design dies in such a way that the sets can layer upon each other. They're different sizes, so you can do things like this, and I love the way it works. So let's pop that down. Use a bit of tape, as I always do, to put them into place. Tape the outside and tape the inside. Just sort of work it out so it looks fairly even all the way around. Tape that one, and we'll run it through the grand caliper. Now that Murcia has some pretty detail on the inside, which won't show on the frame, but you can use this for something else. So you can see it's got a beautiful little heart pattern, which actually shows up even better if you emboss it. We'll pop that back into place. We can use that later. And put our Seville die back onto our magnetic sheet. There we go. And we can use our tape later on too. So here is a beautiful frame that we're going to use for the outer portion of our card. So I've got one I've done with a little bit of mounting foam, so we'll come back to that. So the next step is to create the background behind that frame. I'm going to use the Ornate Octagons, but we are just using the center decorative edge here. I'm going to layer this up and line it up with the one I've already cut. Tape it into place. And we'll run this one through the machine. Okay. That looks like it's cut beautifully. I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning out with the Tulle in One, see if we can get some of those pieces out. In fact, let's take off our tape. We can get underneath those edges. This should take out the larger pieces to the die. We might have a few odds and ends that we'll have to pop out with a pokey tool. There we go. Looks like just one little curly guy. So you can see I've got a really pretty decorative centerpiece to use in my frame. So what we'll do next, let me tidy up my little pieces. There we go. So I've got some sticky adhesive. I'm going to put that onto the back of this. And just peel it off. There we go. Pop that down over my design. And let's give it a good rub. Now I've got the waxy side of the release paper, so I can just rub that down into place, making sure it's nice and adhered. Okay. I'm going to bring over a piece of copy paper to keep it nice and tidy underneath me, and we won't waste any. And using my favorite diamond sprinkles here, pop that over the design. And let's just do a bit of burnishing, making sure it hits all of that sticky area really nice. There we go. Tap that off. And you can even do a bit more burnishing, take some extra off. Doesn't hurt to save a little extra product, put it back into your pot. There we go. Now I like the way that looked, but I kind of wanted to do another step to it. In fact, let me just use this. Using my Cosmic Shiver Dries Clear Glue, I'm going to use another product which is called Midnight Snow. Oops, very full pot there. So let's bring that over, and I'm going to fold this the other direction so I won't contaminate it. Okay, and I'll just do one section of this. So I've got the Dries Clear Glue. Just going to run a bead along the edge here. And you can see it's got little stops and starts. It's no problem at all. It will have an organic look from the product that touches it, so you don't have to be perfectly straight about it. And you can, once you put it on there, you can actually move it into place a little bit if you want. So I'm just going to pop some of this Midnight Snow on there. Isn't that pretty? It's absolutely gorgeous. So that'll take about 10 minutes to dry. You can go around and do all 4 edges of that. I'm going to set that aside because I have some of that, a piece of that already finished that I'll show you. Let me tidy up my little bits. That's quite full. And pop that to the side here. Do a little more cleaning here. Not as neat and tidy as I would have liked. There we go. But to show you, what you have is just a beautiful edge that kind of just catches your eye with a little bit of texture to it. Really like the way that looks. So I'm going to bring in my base piece. I've used some of the teal and the black card on this with my pierced edge. I'm going to pop this down. Tiny bit of mounting foam on the back to raise it for dimension. There we go. Put that into place about like that. And then I'm going to add my frame to the top of that. And I've doubled this up so there's a little bit extra height to it. Add a tiny bit of glue around the edge of that. There we go. And that will seat right over the center of that, hiding your edge. Okay. Give that a second to set up, so we'll move forward from there. Now, I have stamped a sentiment, and I did want to show you one of the features of the pierced flag, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, line this up into place, and there are a couple different dies in this set, all different widths and lengths, but this particular one has been designed so the back part, let me get a hold of that, this part right here doesn't cut. So I want to show you. So what you can do with that is extend it the other direction to make a double-ended flag. So if you want to use it for buckle cards and things like that, you can extend it and make it longer, which is quite handy. But what you do if you don't want to use it for that is just pop it out of the die like that, and just use your scissors to cut the back. There you go. Simple as pie. Okay. I like having that extra option to use because it just gives you so many more things that you can do with your dies. So I'm going to add it to the teal, which I've cut with one of the larger sizes. And we'll just pop that into place. A little bit of glue there. It's going to be a little bit longer on the end, but we are going to put a flower there, so I'm not worried about that. There we go. Slide it around, get it where you want it. That's looking very good. Okay, so bring back my card and I'll pop that in place. Got the glitter there, so a little bit of glue on the back of the mounting foam. And I'm just going to catch the edge of that, about like that. Now, let's show you the flower. I've gone ahead and cut a couple of the orange blossoms in one of the larger sizes. I'm going to do a bit of shaping here. I'm going to bring over my foam pad and a little shaping tool. Just give these a little bit of dimension this way. Turn them over backwards. You can do just a bit of rubbing, whatever technique you like. Just pushing on them does the trick. I've said this before, you don't actually need a flower shaping tool. You can use all sorts of things to create this, but this is a very handy little guy. So because I wanted to tie in a bit of the color, what I've done is picked out the Decadent Teal on the Color Cloud. I've got a little smoothie, and I've used it on this end for other projects, but I'm just going to pick up a little bit of color here, put it right into the center of that flower. And we'll just add it a little bit so you can see it. There we go, a tiny bit more into the edges. I'm going to put something right in the center there, so I'm going to make sure it goes out a little bit past there. Okay, let's pop that down. Just so it will glue okay, I'm going to give it a quick blast with the heat tool. That should work. There we go. That should be enough to do the trick. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is glue them together. I'm going to just let it sit up for a second while I move on. Here's where I've cut the dandelion clocks. I've just cut a couple of these, and they're quite cute to use, and you can also do a little bit of shaping and forming with these and just pop them upward like this. Put a tiny bit of glue in there. Pop those down on top and just kind of offset them a little bit. Okay, and then I've got the smaller versions that are in the Orange Blossom set now, so I can use that with the older ones. See, try to think about those things when I'm designing so that you don't end up with a duplicate if you buy the same sets. So I'm going to just pop that into place there. Oops, move that over. Right like that. And a pearl in the center of that. Just get a hold of this one. There we go. So we should be able to assemble our flower now. Hopefully that is offset really nice like that. Pop that into place. So I've brought in all the colors, the white, the teal, and the black from the card. Make that really pretty. I've got a piece of black tulle that I've just tied into a knot. Put that over my edge of my flags there, because I love to seat my flowers on tulle. I just think it's such a pretty little accent piece. Okay, and we'll use another couple of glue dots for our flower. That should be about dry now. Pop that on there like that. And just to finish it off, I've made a couple stick pins with the teal beads, and we are going to pop those right into the back of that. Now I have done a separate how to make your own stick pins video, so you can check that out on our YouTube channel. But isn't that gorgeous? And I just love the way that all of those parts blend together so beautifully. So if you have some of my original release of dies or even the latest ones, you should be able to use them together quite well.